is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. This is where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world to take back control of our personal choices as well as our health and freedom. I'm Nico Haan.
And I'm Paige Clarke.
The lovely Paige Clarke is with me once more, twice in a row.
I know. I had a little vacation. It was nice, but it's great to be back here, too.
Yeah, it is. And it's a beautiful day in downtown Clearwater. A little rain, but it's humid. That's for sure.
What about that
the storm Erica? Yeah, that's coming, and it looked like it's getting farther west, so maybe it'll go up the middle of the state, which will be good because that's over land. But if it gets in the Gulf, then I'm inclined to worry a little because the waters are very hot.
Right?
It'll gain the power, so we'll see what happens. But it's always exciting.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing about.
We've been lucky though. We haven't had, the flood insurance companies have. Hurricane insurance, homeowners, they've collected a lot of premiums, but we haven't had anything real serious.
No, when I moved here 20 years ago, the first thing I looked at was the flood map. Mm-hmm. And I found a little patch in Bel Air Bluffs.
That's where we are, the highest elevation in Pinellas County.
Yeah, and that's why I said, okay, I'm not going to the shore. I'm going to be 50 feet above sea level, and that way.
It really is, actually. We have quite the little hill.
Yeah, in fact, down on right here, we're almost 100 feet above.
Oh, there you go. So
we're safe, and plus we're 6 stories up, so
we're high and dry right now anyways, guys.
Yes, that's for sure.
Hey, you had this article. You're an expert on this thing, though.
Well, let's tell the people to subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. Let's tell you also, please pick up some Primal Edge. You need to get on that regime if you want to stay healthy. Fabulous reviews. I got a new customer in the other day, and she was just raving that from the first day she could tell that she was on the right path, so that was cool.
Did I tell you? Remember I mentioned to you, I think it was last week, that I had a client who sent me an email and said that her significant other felt kind of frisky on the Primal Edge, and she made a joke that I'm going to be pregnant before I get married. I did tell you this already. Did I tell you that she's pregnant?
No.
Oh, yeah. She sent me a snapshot of her little pregnancy tests, all 4 of them.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
I'm not making any claims here at all.
No,
but, hey, you feel good, you're feeling healthy, you're sending a message to your body that your body's healthy and has what it needs, and things happen.
But there is one thing we are doing here. We're taking phone calls at 877-927-6648. If I don't give it out right away, I forget.
That's right. That way you guys give us a call.
That's right.
Join in.
So I wanted to start off with this because often when I talk about electric universe, we talk about lots of things happening as far as the global temperatures. And certainly we're very aware of global temperatures here in Florida because we get a lot of heat. And when they're always consistently telling us that it's going to be hotter and hotter because of global warming, I certainly pay attention to that.
Yeah, so in fact, this article kind of is talking about some meteorologists that are fighting the fact that there are scientists that are suppressing the truth. They are suppressing the truth of the next global cooling cycle. And so give us some more info, Nico, because you're really kind of an expert in this area.
Well, this was written by David Dilley. He was a former NOAA meteorologist. So for over 15 years, he was the guy that did research grants and things like that. And what they've been talking about is that the higher-ups have been telling people to kind of...
Hush, hush.
Well, not only hush, hush, but turn the conversation to not talk about the natural cycles of the sun. Don't talk about the natural cycles of the up and down of the temperatures that naturally go on. There's different, there's so many different cycles. There's a 200-year cycle, there's a 400-year cycle, there's a 75-year cycle, there's maybe, 2,000-year cycle. I don't know them all, but there certainly are cycles where it gets warmer and it gets cooler. And it seems now we're getting some cooler weather in the Midwest all of a sudden. I know last week it snowed up in Calgary.
Well, let me ask you. Okay. So how does the person on the peripheral here, how do you justify, what the science, the actual true science, is showing that it's actually a cooling trend when we've got the politicians coming to the forefront telling us that global warming, we're all going to die. So, how do you rectify those two situations?
Yeah, I think you just have to dig deeper like we do.
Exactly. And maybe realize that there's a political agenda there on the warming.
Certainly seems to be. And it's really deep, too. It's not only the governments that manipulate. In fact, he says here, not only governments manipulate, but do also some universities in order to protect their grants. A perfect example happened in 2012 when I contacted Eagle Hill Institute in Maine to see if they would be interested in a climate change lecture. It should be noted that the institute was very close ties with the University of Maine. So I indicated my lecture would involve information on natural climate cycles, and they responded to say, this is fine. Then in May of 2000, they asked me to speak at a lecture series on the 29th, which is an invitation he accepted, and they eventually, consequently, advertised the event and posted it on their calendar. So when he was preparing to do the lecture, then they came in and said no.
They said the next morning, just 3 days prior to the lecture, they said the lecture has been canceled due to a staffing shortage. Upon checking it did show the lecture was canceled, but carried the notation that we hope to have a different lecture on the 29th. Yeah. So there were powers that be above or somewhere along the lines where someone said we really actually don't want that information being discussed.
Yeah. Of course, the first natural cycle that you think of is the 11-year cycle of cooling, or where the sun goes into a minimum, and the 11-year cycle of the sun being much more active.
So the article says, what did they want to hide from the public? And the IPCC and most anthropogenic believers want to maintain the belief that global warming during the past 100 years has been caused by human activity alone. And this is why most of their climate talks and lectures do not even mention prior global warming cycles.
And it seems the stuff that I've been reading is that CO2 really doesn't play that big of a part in the natural cycles. It's other things involved. The United Nations is a big proponent of this agenda also, with the carbon taxes and things like that. But I want people to understand that the 11-year cycles is the activity in the sun, and it plays an important role because we're going into a grand minimum, which means we don't get as many flares from the sun. And the flares from the sun is what gives our atmosphere that boost of protection. So while the sun is going to a minimum, we have less of that driven to our planet. Therefore, much more radiation from space gets through the atmosphere. The scientists that I listen to from the Suspicious Observer, they have a talk every Saturday. I listen to it on Sunday mornings always. It's about an hour usually. They were saying that I'm not flying anymore. In this next decade, I'm not going to go in the air. I'm going to do all road trips because of the extra radiation at the high altitudes. In fact, if you look it up, you can see that stewardesses and pilots have a much, much greater cancer risk and all types of cancer.
Well, that's very interesting that you say that, because what I've been taught in my training as a quantum reflex practitioner is don't leave home without it, and that is a bottle of concentrated green tea. And it's the equivalent of 20 cups of the active phytochemical that's active in green tea. And anytime you take a trip now, 1,500-mile air flight, say from New York to LA, it's the equivalent of 100 X-rays on the ground.
Wow.
So if that's going to continue to increase,
Yeah, and it will be. And we're just coming out of the maximum. So now we're starting to go into that minimum. It's going to be an 11-year cycle. But they were also talking about that, he says, on a very high scale, that we could be in 2 years being into a real bad winters coming on, especially in the United States, especially Europe is going to be into the big cold. And this could be lasting for quite a while. Even our maximum was one of the lowest maximums we've had.
So properties below the freeze zones might be very attractive, namely, but namely, even possibly into the southern hemisphere.
Sure.
Although, I guess they have their winter switch. But, just to kind of wrap up this article, the politically driven United Nations and United States global warming ruse will likely end up being one of the greatest scandals of the 21st century. If left unchecked, it will continue to lead the world down a dangerous path that could jeopardize the lives of millions of people. So many have been led to believe the Earth is heading into catastrophic global warming. Is this a political ruse, and will it likely blindside governments within the next few years? When it comes to climate, history does repeat itself.
It does. And
so thanks for sharing that, because this is all...
Yeah, and it actually ends up saying this is a real danger. The public is being prepared for anthropogenic global warming, and Mother Nature is turning down the global thermostat. Preparing for a warm climate when it is cooling, the general population of low information consumers are going to be blindsided, and that does not bode well for the current political leaders in California, as well as the band leaders for
AGW, right. Yeah, so the bottom line, folks, is we've got to pay a little attention. Remember, we live in an upside-down world, and most of the time, some of the stuff you hear is the complete opposite. I call it a 180.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have to do a 180 on what we hear and think, and I really appreciate you sharing this, because I've been trying to catch up to speed on a lot of this suspicious observer information.
Yeah, the other thing was that I wanted to say was that the Electric Universe, they have the Thunderbolts project.
Right.
And that project, they had a big turnout, I think it was maybe a couple of months ago, where they had all these speakers. And it would cost about $250 if you want to listen to it. And we decided to wait, because afterwards they reduced the price. So just now they released a bulletin saying for $99 for the next 2 months, you can listen to all the talks at your leisure for $99, which I'm going to do. And there's only, I think there's 25 or 30 talks, and all of them are an hour or more. These are really sharp people. If you're interested in the Electric Universe, I would go to the Thunderbolts project and find that.
We've shared that before, because we've given some other information. So thunderboltsproject.org.
The thunderbolts.com, I think, is
Thunderbolts.
I will put it in my next newsletter too,
okay.
So you can have that information. I think it's just important for people, you know, to get prepared for things. You know, I bought a couple of things of just you know, prepping type of stuff.
Yeah,
and not food or anything, because I have plenty of food. It's just that it's.
I think preparation is prudent.
Yeah,
for
well, this
anything.
is a nice kit you can just throw in your car, and it's got thermal blankets, it's got sleeping bags, fire starters, anything that you need, you know, knives and rope and everything that you need just in case of an emergency.
Well, I don't think this is conspiratorial. I think it's responsible to talk about being prepared.
Well, remember, it was a couple of weeks ago that the whole web went down for the finances went down for 4 hours. This was because of the sun. This was the radiation coming in, and I mean, we could be without power for a few hours, few days, couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. What if it happened for a couple of years?
Right, exactly.
I mean, the whole world changes.
Yeah, so we have to keep our eyes open. That's what we do here. We keep our eyes open.
And I see Confetti Wars is listening to Suspicious Observer. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important that you get as much information as you can. If you think it's conspiratorial, well, that's cool. But,
well, a lot of conspiracies have been proven to be true.
The world is no longer flat, folks.
That's right.
877-927-6648. Paige and I will be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated folic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
You know, we were just talking a little bit about all this activity with the sun, and Confetti Wars had a comment. But the sun activity is going higher than normal. A terrible fear is in the public that we would be no way prepared for a massive coronal mass ejection. It would fry the new electronics equipment exposed to the side of the Earth from that time of the sun. But actually, you had a comment about that.
Well, yeah, the comment is the sun activity is actually going lower. So when these flares come out that give us protection, those are now no longer happening as much. So when that mass ejection comes, we're not protected. So while the sun is dimming, it still goes through these mass ejections, and that's the danger. The mass ejection will throw out lots of radiation, and now we're not as protected against that as we would be during the maximum cycle of the sun, which we're just
So
coming
due
out
to
of.
the minimum, these coronal mass ejections are becoming more serious from us because we no longer have the protection from the radiation.
Yes.
And we're cooling because the sun is dimming. We're in a
Yes.
dimming cycle.
So that brings us to another thing that we often talk about, is that the chemtrails.
Yeah.
Because here in Florida, we see a lot of them. When I go out to California, we see a lot of them. So, what is this stuff? I mean, I've been wondering for years. I've certainly seen most of the films on it, and there's a lot of stuff on YouTube about it.
What are they spraying? It's an excellent movie.
What are they spraying? Why are they spraying it? There's all kinds of theories that we're trying to modify the weather. The other conspiracies that we're trying to dumb down the population, just like we do with the fluoride, putting chemicals in.
Yeah, aerial vaccination.
In a sense, right.
Yeah.
And we know that a lot of these products do make us more passive. as a general population.
Well, you know,
that's why we should be
talk.
spraying it over in Iran and Iraq and maybe, instead of here. I don't know what the heck is going on. If you're not already aware, chemtrails is a term that's used to describe persistent contrails, presumably laden with chemicals observed issuing from airplanes, which I've personally seen that, as a result of a formation of artificial cloud patterns in weather. And these things, I've got a picture in the chat room here, these things look just like that in many cases, and they last for hours, sometimes a half a day or so. I mean, in Florida, we see a lot of these things.
And interestingly, I think I made that comment to you when I was doing my grass grazing over in Austria. Never saw a single one. Not a single one, ever. And it's and there's an airport right there, so I didn't even see contrails really.
Yeah. And I talk to people in the Midwest and the higher elevations that don't see it as much. So, I don't really know what it is. I've read it all, and it's just a very interesting thing that takes place, and nobody can seem to Nobody seems to really have the answer to it. I mean, there's a lot of because we don't have any public figures coming out saying this is exactly what's going on. Yeah. We have some scientists, and usually they're former employees. We don't know if they have grudges, and then we have the novices that are trying to explain this. But certainly there are a lot of pictures of the planes with the equipment on it.
Well, I feel that this article, Why the Chemtrail Conspiracy is Real, that we've got on our teleprompter here, Sayer G., founder of GreenMed Info, he spends a great deal of time looking at evidence-based research. Very credible source and researcher. He says the new research is proving that coal fly ash is the source material for the chemtrails. Now, what that sounds like to me is very similar to the fluoridation situation. Yeah. The powers that be had a problem. The industrialists were polluting, and the cows and the people around their phosphate plants and so forth were becoming crippled and dying. I mean, literally, you can Google pictures of the livestock around these wastewater areas. So they had a problem. They had to get rid of their toxic waste. So they found that dilution was the solution to the pollution. So they said, well, let's just dilute it in the water. It'll be enough to create, problems. It won't be able to create a finger-pointing situation. And that's what I think could be going on here. Again, a way to get rid of the coal fly ash, into the atmosphere.
And the author of this says that, suggests that you watch Artificial Clouds, which is a movie. I think you may be able to see that on YouTube. And that's one of the movies. And if you have that one up, you'll see on the road to the right that there'll be a lot of things.
That really explains how to look at the different kinds of clouds. It's because a lot of people really do get confused when they look at them. But the thing to know is this coal fly ash, it's more toxic than radioactive waste. Yeah. I thought that was very interesting that they're looking at this. And we have to try and understand this nanoparticleization is allowing chemicals, whether they be, who knows what they are. Are they trying to control the weather? Are they trying to do something that may be more sinister that creates, a more difficult time? I certainly know that people notice a difference. Have you ever noticed after they've been spraying your car sticky?
I mean, I noticed it on myself too. And Confetti Wars is talking about extra earthquake activity and volcanic activity. If you notice, right around all these tropical storms, there is real connection between those three. So he's right, and this is what the suspicious observers
thanks for your feedback, Confetti Wars. Yeah, you're right on it. So are we. And we'll be back.
Switch gears. So we'll be back in a few minutes, and the number here is 877-927-6648. Pick up some Primal Edge. Take a look at the newsletters. We'll see you soon.
That's right. That Primal Edge will help you, bind those toxins, get rid of them.
That's what we want.
You've heard Nico Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418 8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Nico and Paige here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. I ran across an article that kind of interested me.
Big brains do not need carbs.
Yeah. And we've always been told that the reason we have big brains is because of the carbohydrates. But, we know that of the 3 nutrients, the macronutrients of fat, protein, and carbs is the only one that's not non-essential. So if it's not essential for us, then it wouldn't be necessary to grow the brain, I would think.
Yeah, and just a little background, then you can get into the meat of it.
Okay.
There was an article that came out, The Importance of Dietary Carbs in Human Evolution, and its predecessor was an article called Big Brains Do Need Carbs. And so what we're going to kind of talk about now is how perhaps there was some flawed science in that. This is very interesting to me because I have different sets of mentors and people that I study, and I'm always, I try to maintain an open mind about so many things in life, and there has been a lot of argument that it is adding some resistant starch or starch in the diet is actually indicated for those to live a long life. So let's hear what we're saying here. These people have done some research to refute or find the flaws in that research.
Especially the starchy ones. It says here, comparison with ancestral diets suggests that carbohydrates promote an inflammatory microbiota. whatever. I'm not sure what.
Talking about the gut.
Yeah,
the gut
and
becomes
maybe,
inflamed.
Yeah, and it may be the primary dietary cause of leptin resistance and obesity. Remember leptin. And leptin is that little hormone that tells you if you're satisfied.
Satiated, yeah. The satiation hormone.
Yeah.
So, and I really believe that's true, Nico, because I was telling you from, I'm always experimenting on myself. And I really do believe that these grains, particularly if they're not being prepared right, and quite frankly, folks, if you're eating any type of grain or starch or carbohydrate in a restaurant, it is not prepared correctly. So just know that.
Yeah, you got to do it yourself.
Unless you're at a special
restaurant.
Yeah. So if you do need to accidentally eat a pancake, then you should make sure you do it at home on some, soaked flours or soaked grains.
Soak them first, let them dry out, sour them a little bit,
Sour
then
them.
Grind them up. And
Exactly. It's a big job.
Yeah.
And so maybe you're just better off leaving them out.
Yeah, and if you go to some of these primitive areas, you can actually see the people doing this with yucca plants, different kind of roots that have lots of poisons in them. But roots definitely, and we'll talk a little bit about
we've got a great
roots, too.
article on that.
Yeah.
You guys stay tuned. We
Yeah.
got some, what are the good root vegetables that can
So
pose as your starch?
To conclude this is hopefully it is clear we certainly do not need starch to develop our current brains, and in fact, too many carbohydrates, including starches, impair brain processes.
Well, we've even found out that some researchers are saying that Alzheimer's is considered diabetes type 3.
Yeah.
So it's a sugar issue.
Yeah. And the problem with this conclusion, it's not scientific, it is economic. For you see, it is quite easy to continually churn out starch-heavy foods and make a profit, and these foods are very cheap to produce. And without an endorsement of carbohydrates, how can a company justify selling sugar water to us in mass?
Wow, that's so true.
Yeah.
And if you stop and you just take a moment and you just go, think about it a little bit, try and picture the shelf space in a grocery store. And these are the foods that take up 90%.
Yeah, and also if you think about fast food, then you're thinking about the actual what you get, and you get the French fries, you get the big soda, and then you get the bun, and all that's on the bun, and all that's on the bun is not a lot of meat. There's a little meat in there. I think somebody had told me that it only needs to be a certain percentage of actual meat to be called 100%, that type of thing. Just if you want to be healthy, you've just got to cut those things out. And, if you're 20 years old right now, you're not going to feel the effects of this for 20 or 30 years. But, it's kind of like an IRA, or, we're saving here. And, my wife had just went through this. We've been in an IRA, and, we've really pulled everything out of the stock market. And we said, at our age, we're not gambling with our money anymore.
Well, and the stock market is the
and we're
place
not
to gamble,
professionals.
as you guys know.
So, we're putting it into something else that is a guaranteed fund. And, Tom O'Brien always helps us with stuff like that. So, thank goodness we have such a great source like TFNN to steer us in the right direction, because these days, this last week, if you're watching the stocks, your brain is going,
Well, it can be a great opportunity for those of you that are knowledgeable, like most of you watching here. You guys know that with every adversity is opportunity, and so hopefully you're on the right side of that adversity and are taking advantage of the opportunity.
So too.
Because that's important. So what are we going to talk to you next? How about that thing about the root vegetables?
Yes.
I think that would be a good thing to discuss. Top 10 root vegetables that you can use to replace grains.
Yeah, because a lot of people, when they're talking about, okay, I'm not eating bread anymore, I'm not going to eat the pasta anymore, what the heck do I replace it with? Well, from my point of view, I don't replace these things. Right. I just have my meat, I have a little bit of carbs in the form of some really great vegetables or spices and things like that, herbs that I use. So I don't replace it. But if you want to replace it, root vegetables, I think, are a natural, because it is a little starchy.
Right.
But they're definitely packed with much, much more
phytochemicals and fiber. So while the average person actually consumes too many carbohydrates, there's some that may be actually beneficial. Mm-hmm. Again, I liked what Nico said. If you're under 20, 30, you can probably get away with a lot of things. But after that age, we kind of look at like 25, 30. The digestive fire is shutting down. We see this all the time. Only because of how we've grown up with these processed, dead, devitalized foods. So we need to support digestive fire. And for many of us, if you want to add a few 10, 20 years to your life, I really think you need to do inside
10, 20
therapy.
Of quality
years.
Years, because that's really what we're talking about. It's from 60 on. Do you want to be bedridden? Do you want to be wobbling around with all kinds of aches and pains? I mean,
not dead, but nearly dead. Yeah. Wish you were dead.
And everybody over 60 that comes into my place is always complaining about some kind of pain and things like that. Well, I have pains too, but once you learn how to counteract them through some exercise, through some stretching, food is actually the number one thing that you can get rid of these aches and pains. And the sooner you start, the more relief you're going to get, or you might never be in that position that a lot of the people that I see coming into my place are like.
Me too.
Yeah.
The neat thing about this root vegetable is you can start to look at them as an option. So you have without turning to the refined carbs. So when we're talking about the root vegetables, we're talking about starchy carbohydrates, but we're talking about living in potentially, rich in phytochemicals and so forth, growing from the ground versus refined pastas and rices and grains. So, they're high in fiber. They're actually a good source of vitamins A and C.
Yeah, and if you can get them from a wild source, in other words, they're growing out in the wild, then you're really getting something, because that's much better. The carrot of today is not the carrot of yesterday, that's for sure.
The truth, the health begins in the soil. One of the reasons we developed the Primal Edge is we're bringing the mineralization that was in the soil for primordial man, and this is from ancient primordial seabeds or resource. So we're trying to provide that to you, because we don't care how great you are at trying to buy the most organic at your organic store. Even the organic soils are most likely not remediated properly. It's
that's
just
right.
a sad
So
fact.
let's, why don't you fill us in?
But they can also, I was just going over a couple of reasons. Another reason is they can help you lose weight. One of the reasons when you're increasing your fiber, much of your weight is often weight you're holding on to in certain places where I don't need to go there, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You're holding on to things. The fiber can help push things along, and that is actually true weight. I mean, they say that the average person is holding on to 10 pounds of fecal matter. That's rather disgusting, actually.
Yeah, it is.
So that is one of the advantages of some of the fibers that are in these kinds of root vegetables that can help push this along. It also can help maintain healthy skin and eyes because of the beta carotene and vitamin C. And
these farmer market are great for getting root vegetables, and also most, you can see a lot of them, and try them out. I mean, daikon root, I use that quite a bit, and that's a great root. It has substance to it.
Kind of like a radish.
It is a radish.
Yeah.
Yeah, daikon is a radish. And there's a lot of them out there. And we're not going to sit and name them, but it's, you got all kinds of things, too. The other thing that's really good for you, too, is spices. Peppers and things like that, because these things really help your immune system. They give your immune system a reaction. I like spicing my meats and things up. I even spice my salad up a little bit. So my wife, not as much. But I like spicy stuff.
Well, I want to make a comment about spices, okay? Because I did a grocery store tour. I do that sometimes with some of my clients. I just go with them, and it really helps because they get a visual, and I kind of cut through the chase and tell them which aisles to avoid. But, I want you to be aware of spices. Spices are the creator's pharmacy. They are the herbs and the roots and the bark and so forth that can be used as medicine. And they can be very powerful, as we know, with turmeric and cumin and, so many different spices.
And all these different peppers are just wonderful to add
super.
to your...
And they're actually intelligent. They're adaptogenic. The cayenne pepper is the best thing to have on hand. In the event of someone's having a stroke, you want to give them a cup of cayenne pepper. In the event someone's... Yeah. If they're having a bleeding, you want to give them cayenne pepper. It's actually intelligent enough. It either tells the blood to clot, or it tells it to stay.
Do you put it on a wound?
You can put it on a wound, and it'll stop bleeding. Yeah, and it's loaded with vitamin C. Interesting, bioflavonoids and vitamin C.
Now, how do you take a cup of it?
Well, it would be in water, and it probably wouldn't be the most pleasant thing.
I was thinking, I was picturing
unless you're
myself.
a really spicy guy. But the thing I want you guys to be mindful of is, again, your spices need to be organic And the most important thing is they need to be non-irradiated. And if it doesn't say that they're non-irradiated, then you should assume that they are irradiated. As spices cross different countries' boundaries, the governments irradiate them, and that takes the life force out. That kind of collapses the field.
Yes.
So one of the brands that I could recommend to you that we find in our stores is Frontier. Frontier states that their spices are organic, non-GMO, and non-irradiated. So I'll give a little plug for Frontier. Not that there aren't other brands, but that's one that I think you can find in most of the health food stores.
Do your own research and you'll find stuff.
And you can probably go online and order
And that's
them.
the great thing about this, switching your diet. You can do a lot of research, so you can make it a little bit more exciting. There's a lot of exciting foods out there, spices out there, roots out there that you've probably never even thought of.
Right.
And once you incorporate this, you'll find it really changes the way you feel, the way your immune system reacts, and maybe get rid of some of those contrails and things that might be affecting you. This will help, along with the Primal Edge. I can't tell you enough that everybody that I know that has tried Primal Edge is really feeling the great effects of it, spicing up the life like your client does.
Yeah,
people
literally.
And my wife had a client who bought it and said, I've had trouble swallowing things and even liquids, and she says, the first day I was kind of hesitant, but I took it and not too bad. Second day, no problem. And then she forgot all about her problem with swallowing medicine. Of course, Primal Edge doesn't taste like medicine. It tastes more like an earthy, I don't know quite how to describe it.
The best way I can explain it for those of you that haven't tried the Primal Edge, we encourage you to try it because you can get it with your Tiger dollars. Tom O'Brien, our fearless leader here, has made it available to you. He wants you to be healthy and wealthy while you're trading, to live longer and stronger, healthier and wealthier. So give it a try. I like to explain that it has an earthy look because it does have the humic fulvic from ancient soil beds. But many people have said it kind of tastes like maybe Coca-Cola syrup. Not that I like that analogy, but it's kind of a cherry earthy flavor. But you can mix it in with a fresh juice or something too if you like to. You can have it in water. It tastes fine.
I wouldn't use orange juice, however.
Yeah, well, the problem you've got is we really recommend that you follow it with non-fluoridated water. Remember, this is we call this nature's miracle molecule or an alchemic genius. It knows what chemicals and minerals and complexes are good for you, and it knows which ones are not. So it's going to bind and chelate, a natural chelator. It's going to chelate the things that you don't need and help remove them from the body. It's going to form compounds into chemicals and compounds and nutritional components that you do need. So give it a try if you haven't
can only
yet.
get it here at TFNN.com.
That's right.
Or get a hold of Paige or myself, and we'll get some to you. So I really recommend you do that. Another thing about food is that it's probably the primary reason why people are sick. It's also one of the primary reasons that people are obese, that are gaining weight. And we're always continuously told by the media that it's exercise. You're not exercising enough. We heard it already a couple of weeks ago when the Coca-Cola company was putting out a whole new campaign that don't worry about, what you're drinking. Don't worry about the fast food. Just exercise more and you're going to be in good shape.
And that's just not true at all. And I really want to state this because you and I have been talking about this. Exercise without the proper antioxidants is just a free radical free-for-all. And that's not what we want as we're starting to age. We do not want to create more free radicals. And we always use that example of the marathon runner versus the sprinter, that long distance, no relief type of exercise can really create a lot of free radicals.
And the person who has the most damage is the person who's heavy already, under stress already, and now you're putting them through a rigorous exercise program. It really makes no sense. Pay attention to the food. You're going to get a better result.
And get something that's binding the toxins to help you remove them, so you don't re-intoxicate yourself.
And you can find a lot of this information, of course, in the Health Signals newsletter, so please pick that up.
Good stuff.
Great stuff. We'll be back in a couple minutes. 877-927-6648. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Steve Rhodes as he teaches techniques on technical analysis using pattern recognition, celestial charting, Fibonacci, and other tools. The Trader's Edge, next on TFNN.
Maybe I should make a qualification here. I was talking about using cayenne pepper because it had adaptogenic responses, but I did not mean to eat or drink a cup of cayenne. I just meant maybe almost like a tea, to make a cayenne tea or put a little bit of cayenne in someone's...
I can see somebody just spooning that stuff in there.
Oh, it might not be pretty.
No.
But yeah, you can Google some of the benefits and health benefits of cayenne. But anyways, we got this small segment here. You know, I like this next article that we're going to go over because it's all about play. And before we get into it, you know, again, you and I are oftentimes on the same wavelength. You know, we send information back to each other, you know, things that we want to talk about with you guys. And I had sent Nico an article about how a guy gave up a $15,000 a week job to live a really simple life.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing about getting back to playing. Well,
it's the reason I chose jiu-jitsu, because I envisioned myself rolling on the ground when I was 10 years old, and that was a great fun time of my life. And just some of the things that kids do, like break out a coloring book and just start coloring.
Yeah.
You know, these are relaxing, nice things to do.
I gave my daughter a coloring book for Christmas because she used to love to color.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's just had her baby. And, she kind of got a little teary about it. I got her a coloring book and some markers. It's kind of really cool. And I think she really enjoyed that. It kind of brought back that sense. But so 7 childhood activities that can make you happier and healthier.
I was just going to say, Ellen last weekend, she had a little time to herself, and she says, all of a sudden she goes into the Florida room and she breaks out this little canvas and starts doing charcoal.
Yeah.
And I said, geez, I haven't seen you do that for a long time. Yeah, she just says it just relaxes me. But, all the children activities, climbing a tree, going, wading through a puddle, getting on a swing. When was the last time you got on a swing at a playground?
I did last week with my grandbaby, but you're exactly right. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Why don't we do these things every day? Why don't we play more?
Well, because most of us are in these jobs like a slave, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I really do believe that we're not really meant to do this, and our whole society is setting up more and more of this for us to, start right from the get-go when you're 4 or 5 years old, getting into the regime of being busy all day at it's education at first, but to me, it doesn't seem like the end result in the America right now is that good, with all the shootings, people going nuts, people being sick. It's just not a good situation. It's a thing that we have to change, and certainly we have to change it individually by ourselves, because our natural tribal system is not in play, and all these governments, all these companies that are advertising to us are programming us the way they want us to go through life. And
what if we made a choice, though?
I've opposed it all my life. In school, I remember in kindergarten you could sit anywhere. Then all of a sudden you go into first grade in Holland, and all of a sudden I sit in the chair and the guy says, no, that's my seat. When did that change? Nobody told me, And all these things are trying to put you in a box a certain way. You have to sit up straight. You have to do this. Well, if we're sitting in chairs, it's not our natural position. And maybe we were squatting on the ground, we wouldn't have to worry about these things. I think about a lot of these things.
I do too.
And things that are good for us, like daydreaming. These are some of the things. Creating something from nothing.
Exactly.
Hugging more.
Right. I took my grandson for a walk the other day, and we were in this area, and so we were looking at sticks. All of a sudden, he started picking up sticks, but then there'd be a big stick, but he didn't want it. He was specifically picking out twigs that were of a certain size. And I looked at him. I thought, wow, he's actually creating a little bit of a.
He's great.
He's got something planned.
And the last thing that you should always do, folks, and we did as a child, and we felt so much better afterwards. Just take a nap now and then.
Yeah, take
really
a nap.
Important.
Exactly. Well, it's Friday afternoon.
I've got an extra hour. I can take a nap. Thanks, folks, for sticking around. We really appreciate it. Pick up some Primal Edge. Get the Health Signals newsletter, and Paige and I will be back next week.
See you next week, guys.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.